like to share a story with you um, that I hope you find fills these sort of empty days while we're all staying inside. This story has to do with stars, and hopefully sometime soon you'll get to go out in the evening and just sort of lay back or lay in a chair and look at all the stars. Soon you may begin to see how some of the stars make shapes. People a long time ago called those constellations. There's one called Taurus, the bull, and it looks like he has the horns like a bull would. There's another one called the Andromeda Strain. You've probably even seen one called the Big Dipper. Well, this story that will help us find out how one of those constellations was made is about a little girl named Gretchen. Gretchen and her mother lived in a small Swede house on the edge of a mountain village. They lived out near the mountain meadows just at the foot of the mountain. Well, it was a very happy village until one summer they got no rain and all of the creeks dried up. And because the creeks dried up, they couldn't grow their vegetables, they couldn't grow their crops. People not only were thirsty, but they were starving. So sometimes when people are starving, they begin to get ill, and that is what happened to Gretchen's mother. Gretchen decided to help her mother one day. She walked into the bedroom where her mother lay, all sick and crippled up. She said, "Mother, I'm going to the mountains to get you some water. I think if I go high enough, I can find that mountain with some water in it." And her mother said, "Oh dear, I'm very worried about you going. Please be very careful. I'll be back soon, and I will have filled this ladle from our kitchen up with some water for you. Hurry back, dear." Well, Gretchen went out and she walked through the mountain meadows, and then she had to begin to climb some of the trails that went up the mountains. And she climbed and climbed and climbed. And where she knew there were streams, there were none. She kept climbing and she thought, "Oh, I know where there's a small lake, a small pond." But there was none. So she climbed and climbed and went around a rock outcropping. And she thought she heard something. She climbed over the rock and looked down. And there was a little spring of water burbling up from the ground. Oh, she thought, this might save my mother. So she went and she poured her little dipper in the stream and filled it up. Oh, she was very thirsty, but she knew she had to get this back to her mother. So she turned and carefully walked back down the mountain path, not wanting to spill a single drop. When she got all the way down the mountain, and in a small dog was on the side of the last street in town, and the dog was whimpering, and its ribs were showing, and Gretchen thought, it just needs some water. Maybe I should give him some of my water. I could go replenish it after it drinks it. I'll just climb back up. So she went over to the little puppy and she gave it its water, and it just lapped it all up. And the dog that had just been so mournful now looked like it was full of life again and jumped around. Well, Gretchen turned to pick up her ladle, and there, laying on the ground, was not her black ladle, it was a gold ladle. And even more amazing than that, it was full of water, clear water. Oh, I don't have to climb the mountain, thought Gretchen. I'm just going to start back up the hill again, back to the village again, and give this to my mother. As she was almost home, she walked past Mr. Johansson. Mr. Johansson was in his 70s, and he had been trying to work in his garden, but it was just dusty. There was hardly anything growing, and he was leaning against his fork. He too needed some water. She looked down at the water and thought, well, he won't take more than a sip. She went up to Mr. Johansson and said, here, would you like to have some water? He said, oh, my dear, thank you so much. And she gave him a sip. And he said, oh, that has made me feel so good. I know I can finish working in my garden. Thank you, Gretchen, thank you. Gretchen turned to get her ladle, and the most amazing thing had happened again. It had turned into a crystal ladle, and it was full of water. She was just amazed at this magical thing, but she turned and went into her house, went into her mother's room where she lay shriveled up in her bed. She said, Mother, wake up long enough to get some water. And she let her drink the water. And oh, her mother was so thirsty and drank and drank and drank, but then pulled her head back, and there was one little swallow left. She said, oh, my dear Gretchen, please take that one last sip of water. You look very thirsty after all that climbing. Well, Gretchen thought, okay, I will. And she was turning to take that sip of water, and there was a knock on the door. She went to the door and opened it, and there, huddled on the doorstep, was a little lady, all shriveled. She had a scarf over her head, even though it was warm summer, and she had shawls covering her. And she said, my dear little girl, do you have but one sip of water, please? And Gretchen looked down at the water that her mother had left her, and she said, yes, I do. And she gave the water to the old woman, who sipped it thirstily, and then turned, walked into the middle of the town square with the ladle, threw it up into the sky until you could no longer see it again. And then the most amazing thing happened. It began to rain. It rained, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. And everyone came out of their houses and were rejoicing and rejoicing that it was raining. The water was running in the streams again. Their crops would live. Well, the celebration lasted way into the night, and people all gathered around a bonfire, and they were celebrating Gretchen and all of her kindness. And as Gretchen then turned to leave and go back home, she looked up into the sky, and she saw something that looked like a dipper. And from then on, people have called that constellation, the Big Dipper. And that is why you will always have water falling out of the dipper. You have heard my story, and you've listened very well. Now it's yours to tell. Thank you.